change makers who each represent a different force of transformation: business, sustainability, human capital, and communication. Together, we'll discover not only how to lead, but how to inspire. A bit of fun fact though, before we go on to the biodata. Datin Hartini has 9 children and 11 grandchildren. Dr. Shafrina was in New York in high school when the tragedy 9/11 happened. Farah, when she balik kampung, it's to California in the USA. And Ibrahim, he used to run 50-kilometer marathon. All right, now, I'll talk about, get the biodata on Datin Hartini. Now, Datin Dr. Hajar Hartini binti Usman is the President and Group Managing Director of Prihatin Ihsan Holdings Namrhaj, an investment and property development company. She also serves as Chairman of Yayasan Bina Kesejahteraan, YBK, Director of Yayasan Jambu Sakti, Administrative Advisor of Yayasan Basmi Kemiskinan, and G100 Global Chair for Philanthropy, Business and Poverty Eradication. A Harvard Business School alumni, 2016, and ex-con member of his Alumni Club Malaysia. She is President of the ASEAN India Business Council under WICCI, an Honorary Advisor of Wawasanita, Sector Committee Chair for Women, Youth, Gender and Diversity at TPACCI, as well as President of the Women Economic Forum, known as WEF ASEAN, and WEF ASEAN 2025 Malaysia. She has been awarded Doctor of Philosophy honoris causa from Rai University, India, and accolades including Women of the Decade 2022 and 2023, Rania Award 2024, Humanitarian Impact 2024, Themis Award 2024, Sabah Top Achievers 2024, and Legendary Women of the Decade. A big hand for Datin Hartini. Now, Dr. Shafrina Sharif is an international sustainability expert and strategist with extensive global experience. She established and spearheaded the corporate sustainability endeavors of multinational companies across diverse regions and industries, including engineering and construction, biotechnology, and airport hospitality. She holds a PhD in Environmental Governance and Democracy from Imperial College London and an International Master's degree in Sustainable Development and Corporate Responsibility from EOI Business School, Madrid. Dr. Shafrina has also been active in advocating for DEIB, such as through championing women's empowerment, and was featured in Prestige magazine's Women of Power 2023 as a trailblazer. Dr. Shafrina was Global Head of ESG and Sustainability at Plaza Premium Group prior to being appointed as the group's Global ESG and Sustainability Advisor. She's also the founder and CEO of Terra Lesta International, which offers tailored ESG and sustainability training, advisory and consultancy services. A big hand for Shafrina. Now over to Puan Farah Osman, who is an agile leader with extensive experience in the HR space. Currently, she is the Director of Human Resources and Administration at Tun Razak Exchange Cities Namrhaj, where she is responsible for driving the people's agenda. With extensive experience in various industries, such as oil and gas, defense, and technology, Farah has successfully led HR transformation initiatives, including talent development, employee relations, and change management initiatives. particularly in people and culture contexts. Her leadership extends to social responsibility, having previously spearheaded the social pillar under ESG in a PLC, where she championed sustainability strategies around talent attraction and retention, diversity and inclusion, and human rights. Farah is a certified advanced coaching and mentoring professional and is certified in Hogan assessments, underscoring her commitment to HR innovation and talent development. A passionate mentor and coach, Farah has also contributed to social impact initiatives, including youth development and startup ventures, and remains an advocate for the advancement of HR practices and people-centered leadership. A big hand for Farah. Now, Encik Ibrahim Sani is an ally for the empowerment of women, and he's the only gentleman who is joining us today. Encik Ibrahim Sani has extensive experience in finance, banking, strategy, business intelligence, capital markets, and media. He holds a bachelor's degree honors in accounting from the International Islamic University of Malaysia, and is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants and a fellow of CPA Australia. He is a member of the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants and a member of the Malaysian Institute of Accountants. Previously, he served at EONCAP Islamic Bank Berhad, later known as Hong Leong Islamic Bank Berhad, and CIMB Investment Bank, before diversifying his career in the world of broadcasting with BFM and Astro. He is currently the Chief Executive Officer of Yayasan Peneraju, an agency under the Ministry of Economy Malaysia that functions as a talent bank to identify, nurture, and manage Bumiputra talents to accelerate the global competitiveness of Bumiputra. Now we will move on to the discussions. Now I will start with Datin Hartini. Datin Hartini, your life bridges entrepreneurship, property development, and social uplifting. How did your personal challenges shape your leadership philosophy, and what do you hope younger women learn from your journey?
First and foremost, thank you very much, Puan Almas, for being with us today, and to our dear friends on the stage. And thank you, Dr. Nafisa, and the whole team, WIBM, who has given their best today. And congratulations, and please give them a round of applause. They have done a good job. And thank you for everyone for staying back till now. So, Alhamdulillah, I think my journey for the past 39 years in business and 35 years in philanthropy, with being a trader, bringing building materials. If all of you know Eyes of Egypt, where we do have 13 series in TV3 at that point of time, and we supply to KLCC, Putrajaya, most of the big mosques for the building material. Then we go into Class F, then Class B, then Class A, and I become a developer. But however, that journey was not easy. Yeah. But having said that, to be a leader in that situation at that point of time, there's a lot of culture differences between you and your client, your staff, and the value that you add into your organization. But most important thing is do what you think is right, and be authentic, and take care of the welfare of that within boundaries that you have. Because if you want to grow, you need to grow with the people around you. When they are happy with what you actually give them that opportunity to grow with them, then you will then grow together with them. So having that, as I go on into that situation, I felt that entrepreneurship, development, self-development, and social upliftment between yourself and community is very important. As I go along, I'm now the G100 Philanthropy Business and Poverty Eradication. Globally, I've gone to 50 countries all over the world to promote philanthropy. What I see is that we, in any sectors or any organization or even in your business, we should create or uplift the ethical wealth distribution. Why I say ethical wealth distribution? Because you look at wealth distribution around yourself, but of course you look into your organization first, then only you go out to the community. And having that said, with that nurture, upliftment, and empowerment within that circle of organization that you have, that's how you nurture the commitment, the resilience, and having a good values for you to carry on in whatever you do. I think that's my answer.
Fantastic. She's done so much philanthropically as well as business, and it goes in parallel, right? And enrich so many people's lives. Now over to Dr. Shafina. As a global sustainability expert and strategist who has lived, studied, and worked across the globe from New York to Italy to Hong Kong, walk us through your journey into sustainability. What inspired your career path, and from your point of view, how is the sustainability lens fundamentally reshaping leadership mindsets today?
Hello, thank you so much, Almas. And well, first of all, I want to say Assalamu alaikum to everyone, all ladies and gentlemen here. Thank you so much for being such a good sport and dancing with us just now. We know that this is the last session. We're kind of, winding down, but we didn't want you all to end up like sleeping on us, and we just wanted everybody to start moving, maybe as a pre-party before we have the gala dinner later, right? Anyway, so to answer your question, I guess, oftentimes I describe myself as a person who holds a Malaysian passport, but I think of myself as a global citizen because of the amount of time I've spent living, working, growing up, studying overseas. I guess if one were to count, like age-wise and how many years I spent, around half of my life was spent outside of the country, but I was always in and out of Malaysia. But I traveled from a very young age, since I was 4 years old. And I was born in the 80s, and back then, Malaysia we had such pristine beaches, and this was before the time when we suffered from haze and acid rain, right? Malaysia back then was cooler than it is now. And as beautiful as we are now, of course, the landscape and our environmental landscape has changed. And so from a young age, when I was flying in and out of the country, I was able to see, literally from a bird's eye view, the changing environment of our cities, our people, the development that was taking place. And as proud and excited as I was with all these progress that was taking place, I also felt like I didn't want us to, sacrifice the mega diverse natural environment, the gorgeous setup that we have here in Malaysia, solely in the name of development, right? So I became very fascinated with the concept of a sustainable development, the fact that you could actually balance between economic growth, social development, and environmental conservation, and that's something that is good for us. It's something that we want to future-proof ourselves and be more resilient, right? And the same goes with businesses and organizations as well. So I think that what happened was initially I had pursued my first studies, my bachelor's degree. I finished my high school in New York. As you mentioned, I was there during 9/11. I finished my high school there. I went on to pursue a degree in political science and international relations because I thought I wanted to be a diplomat and a policymaker. I thought that was how I could, change the world, like through policies and law. And then even later on, when I came back to Malaysia and I was working, and then I decided I want to pursue my studies again, I went on to study regional integration so that I could understand more about regional cooperation like ASEAN and EU, and just have a better understanding of regional collaboration. But then it wasn't until when I pursued my second master's, which was in Madrid, in Spain, because I was in the process of trying to apply to do a PhD, but all the deadlines had closed at the time. I had an option whether I could just stay where I was, work for another year, and apply the next year for the PhD, or pursue something, just take action and do something else. Somehow, or rather, as fate had it, I stumbled upon a program, a master's program in Spain, at a business school, and this was like in early 2000s, like 2009, 2010, where the concept of sustainable development, you either study that in environmental studies or environmental sciences. Hardly ever did I see it being offered in business schools. So I was interested. I was thinking, wow, what is this? Sustainable development and corporate responsibility, what does that mean? So I got to learn a bit more about what corporate citizenship was about through such a program. I was in a sort of very United Nations environment. My colleagues were from all over the world. We had business leaders that came in to teach us as our professors. It was not so academic, but very hands-on. And then that was when I really started to notice that actually there are opportunities for businesses to make a difference too, for companies. Because if you think about it, there are companies out there that their revenue is the same, if not bigger, than some countries' GDP. So I thought, okay, well, that means that companies also have power here and influence, and they are always at the forefront of technology and innovation. Why not, right? Why can't we also pull in companies and have them contribute and be more proactive in sustainable development? So afterwards, when I pursued my PhD at Imperial College, I had the opportunity, so I completed my master's, I went to do my PhD. I still went into environmental governance and democracy thinking that, okay, I'm going to still work with the government, but eventually when I returned to Malaysia, my parents were aging, I decided, I've traveled a lot, let's try to come back to Malaysia. And I sort of just my first experience of leading sustainability was in engineering and construction. So considered, dirty industry, right? Like a not very, it's like a high emitting industry. Today in Malaysia, the construction sector contributes to about a quarter, about 24%. Of greenhouse gas emissions from Malaysia. So it's pretty significant. And if there are differences or changes that can be made in such a sector, it could be really impactful. But Malaysia, as I said, right, I returned and then I started my sustainability career after doing my PhD in engineering and construction, and then later on I did it in biotechnology, and most recently in airport hospitality. So just from one industry to another. And I would say that what I've seen in, as we were mentioning what was the second part of the question? The leadership, right? The leadership and how they, So what I can say is how sustainability can have an influence on the leadership mindset is that I noticed that when you start to integrate sustainability into corporate purpose, into your corporate culture and your policies and the way you implement your practices, you start seeing a shift from thinking about only profit and revenue growth to thinking about creating value for all stakeholders. And for all stakeholders, I'm not just talking about your customers and clients, but also your employees, your communities, and even the environment, also the planet, So I would say that sustainability has actually been rather influential in this shift of mindset from just thinking about solely growth for the company to thinking about what else can I do to actually make the world a better place? How can my company or my business or my organization help to contribute to solving some of these global challenges that we're experiencing? And and how can I implement or drive more purpose-driven leadership, right? So I would say that's one of the impacts I've seen. And I mean, now I have my own company that I started. I established about 2 years ago, and now what I do is through Terra Lesta International, I try to provide support and help to businesses and organizations, institutions, what have you, government, universities, to leverage sustainability so that you can also create value and you can also do something better, do better to make the world a better place, basically.
Thank you. Well, a big hand for both Dr. Hartini and Dr. Shafrina. But a question to Dr. Hartini. When you listen to Dr. Shafrina, what resonates with your generation's experiences?
I think for younger generation, although we are not so far apart, I hope they could learn the challenges are not roadblocks, but a stepping stone to growth. Yeah, we have to actually embrace every setback as a lesson. Stay true to your values. Know your purpose. Know your true north. And never underestimate the power of collaboration and empathy in leadership. See, the journey might be so tough. You're dragging your leg tomorrow morning. I don't want to go to work. This and that. I have so issues, but please, life goes on. Life just go on. Times, minutes, seconds never stop. Whether you do it now or you do it tomorrow, you have still to do it. And of course, with your purpose, your vision, your heart, you can actually create a lasting impact that goes beyond business and touches life through your effort of you still have that time to do what's best. And of course, purpose-driven leadership isn't just compatible with economic success, because it's also a foundation of long-term value. Okay, and building the industry beyond you and together with you and touching whatever that is in your circle in a proper manner of humanity, love and peace, and of course the environmental friendly that you want to create for the future generation. And of course with the young professional lead by purpose, prioritizing community, environmental resilience and ethical development, we can actually unlock many innovations, attract conscious investment. Conscious investments mean ethical investment. What you want to invest your money on, what you want to invest your energy on, what you want to invest your future on. You have that, that resilience. You can make a choice. What choice do you want to make in your life? And of course, build with intention. Yeah, design the whole thing with empathy. And lead with vision that serve people, planet and community, because that is where it lasts. Because once you have that empathy, when you have that love, when you have that humanity, because globally people are looking, because when I go to Europe, when I go to the third world country, when I go to the Czech country, Republic, they are still looking at how could we create this world to a better place? Because everybody is looking at how do we create this peace? We want peace. Why? Because when there is no peace, when there is no love, the one that is attract disaster the most is women and children. So this is why we need generation like all of you. You are our pillars of strength. You are our future. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Hartini. So the baton is passed to Dr. Shafrina. And now we move on.
No pressure.
to Farah. I have a question, Farah. Puan Farah, you lead HR and Administration for TRX City, a national landmark project. How do you cultivate future-ready talent and ensure that women in property and development sectors are given equal room to thrive?
Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to everyone. And thank you, Dr. Puan Almas, for the... I think my brain is just getting frozen because of freezing cold. But just now, Madam Nadia mentioned about transformation. It's such a big word, and for many of us, for me either, transformation, especially for head of HR and my HR team who are here, thank you so much for coming and being here with me. I need that support. Transformation is really a big word, and in TRX, how we've been doing it for at least less than a year, because I just joined the company slightly over a year. It is actually a journey where you want people to have the opportunity to grow when they are heard, when they are given the opportunity to participate. There's a lot of empathy along that journey, and HR plays such an important role to be to support all the leaders, especially those who make the decision, to listen and to have empathy. So actually, we are very fortunate in TRX point. We don't really have to shout out loud about gender diversity because it happens so naturally. So we have about 50-50 in terms of ratio male-female. So we have architects, female architects, who are doing very well in our project team. We do have engineers among the women. And actually I have my colleague here, she's the head of district management. And she has been instrumental in the journey of TRX over 15 years. So it is actually a natural progression in TRX. But I understand that it is something that is not, it doesn't happen organically in property and construction. So that is where HR plays such an important role to create that opportunity and that platform. So I always believe that to bring people and to enroll people to be part of that journey is how you engage with them. So one of the things that we have done in TRX just this year is that we organize an ideathon. So ideathon is actually coming from a startup entrepreneurship GLC. It comes very naturally to me because you all have all these design thinking tool, you have all these business canvas and the basic coding, so it comes naturally. But in a property where it is a regulated industry, maybe it's a bit tough. So then HR plays such an important role to create that opportunity by doing it. So we run this ideathon where we open opportunity for each and everyone to participate and pitch for ideas, how to provide solutions. We come up with a problem statement and we just ask them to participate and they just pitch. And we then reward them by giving them another opportunity for them to pitch better, because who knows that one day they don't have to work 24/7, or they can own their own business, their own startup. So that's the kind of opportunity that we provide, because another angle that we want to talk about courage to transform, and especially when it comes to transformation, is the agility. I know, again, it's a big word, right? But I always like to adopt the mindset of entrepreneurial mindset. You don't have to own a business to have that entrepreneurial mindset. It's all about growth mindset. It's about collaborate. It's about co-create. It's about listen and also giving opportunity for everyone to bring in ideas and views to the table. I think for the young generations, especially in my team, I do have those, who just graduated from universities. They want to be part of that policy making. They just want to be heard. So all you need to do is what I actually do in TRX, is that we create that platform where they can just give ideas, and we consider and we include them in giving that ideas and how we develop our policies and procedures that is more relevant and practical and seamless. So courage is also about wanting to take feedback, wanting to hear whether the feedback is good or bad, with an open mind. It's wanting to change, because it always starts with the leader, with myself. It always begins with me. I always remember whenever I go from one organization and to another organization, it's always about mindset. It's how I change, because I can't be driving change when I don't want to change. When I'm so rigid, like righteous, wanting to do what I think is working for the past 20 years may not be working for TRX. So yes, in TRX, as I mentioned, there's a lot of engagement programs that we organize and we facilitate, giving the opportunity for everyone to come out. And because to inculcate courage is not just a classroom lesson that you run. It's not just the leadership development program that you organize. It's the opportunity and the real opportunity for them to be heard. Thank you.
Very strong words there. Now, over to Ibrahim Sani, who professes to be an ally on the journey of women, empowerment of women. Now, Ibrahim, you speak daily with CEOs, policymakers, and innovators. From your vantage point in media and finance, what do young professionals need to understand about communication, credibility, and courage and leadership?
I think young people know what they want. I think the old people don't know what the young people want. I also think that the young people do not want to be boxed in a particular career. Say, for instance, you have a 25-year-old young lady who has graduated in architecture. Most likely than not, she doesn't want to be an architect. Also, highest likely is that person doesn't know what she wants. And that's okay. The idea here is the transferability of the upskilling and reskilling of that particular individual is an ongoing effort, and the old people stay out of their way. The old people need to mentor, coach, and guide, do not instruct. I think that's the part where we get it wrong. We've done it this way for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, this fellow must follow my way. Game over. And that's number one. Number two, when we talk about empowering, it's not about giving more to women. It's about removing any biasness towards women. For example, we have a HR person here. Senang kita cerita. A person with HR, you tengok perut boncet, scary. One of the scariest thing for an HR person. Betul tak? Tak. Okay, TRX bagus. Other places that's not TRX will now think twice from hiring that particular person who is expecting a baby. Why? Because of 3 months paternity leave, extra months of unpaid paternity leave and so on. Paternity, Cuba kalau this government remove that idea of only 3 months maternity leave and add a 3 months paternity leave. Add another 12 months unpaid paternity leave. Now the HR manager does not have the disincentive to not hire a pregnant lady, because it doesn't matter whether or not that lady is a lady or a man, you will still face these kind of issues. This is what I mean by empowerment and being an ally. Not give more, but equal the level playing field. I'm not looking for equality, I'm looking for equity. Okay, you're a business owner, we spoke on the phone before we started this panel. You cakap, okay lah, tapi siapa nak bayar? I ni gaji berapa orang, my staff 20 orang ni. Betul juga, dia bukan TRX, ada duit. So, untuk mereka yang bukan TRX yang kaya, ada bangunan tinggi segala macam, you now need assistance from government. I know that more of you know more than me when it comes to some economies that give money to women that have babies. Especially our friend doctor here that travels satu dunia. How many people know that many countries, other countries, when you have a baby, they give you money? Now, why? It's not just about encouraging reproductive rates. It is one of them, yes, but the care that you give women, maternity leave for X number of months, allowing that woman to breastfeed the child, countless studies have shown life care and health improvement of that particular individual in terms of cost for healthcare is reduced dramatically compared to those that were not breastfed when they were in the first 2 years. So when we talk about cost, it's cheaper to give women 12 months maternity leave. Cost bukan tahun ni fiscal year, but lifelong cost for a country to jaga one particular generation. Now that is equity. So we talk about every year budget, PMX, whatever, to explain billion, healthcare, 20 billion, 30 billion, 50 billion, whatever. Tak pernah cukup, memangnya. Tutup 24 jam kedai mamak, remove all ni. In fact, kita punya meja saya tadi, saya komplain, apa, roti manis. Tu belakang tu. Remove that, bagi salad. Okay, tutup 24 jam, and our diet can be further improved, and we're done. Okay, dulu kita makan nasi lemak sebab kita ada sawah padi. I came here with a Grab. I didn't burn any calories. You know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is there's so many ways to improve the equality and equity by removing these kind of incentives. And this is what I'm trying to say. So that's number 2. Finally, number 3. Siapa kata kita kena retire at 60? I mean, it is an arbitrary number, and if you're in the private sector, of course 60 bye-bye, or even public sector, retirement age. What I'm trying to say is, life doesn't stop at 55 or 60 or 67 or 57 or whatever arbitrary number that you put in your head. There is this concept of semi-retirement. You might have to repurpose your life towards the end of your professional journey. What I'm trying to also say is what's stopping you from learning more about AI, data science, cloud computing, whatever you have, just because of your age. In fact, on the contrary, it's a lot easier to learn technology now, even if you are in your 50s or 60s or 70s. Stay connected to the world by being productive to the economy. Now, if you're in your 50s, fantastic, well done. Repurpose your workspace, because I'm not expecting you to lift bricks any longer. You leave it to the 20-year-olds, they can do better. But you need to bring your maturity and wisdom into the professional space by bringing your experience and translating that into the economy. So don't talk about retirement when you're in your 50s. That's very disheartening for people in your 20s. Don't. There's a long life ahead of you. Malaysian life expectancy, just Google it. We're looking at, what, 69 years old when we were 20 years ago. This year, we're hitting 79. In a few more years, we're going to surpass 80-year-old life expectancy. Stay healthy, be connected, and be productive. Itu nombor 3. Finally, kita bagi microphone. Setiap nak balik, semua nak balik, nak boleh bersyukur dah. Okay, there is this concept of spotlight effect. Some of you know this, some of you don't. Pergi Google. Tajuk dia kata, leading change, building futures. Now you want to lead change? Lead. Take action. Jangan fikir idea Tuan ni bagus. Mana itu translation dia kepada activity? Ada activity Tuan? Alhamdulillah. So point dia adalah, you want, there's 5 things that you wanted to do all your life. Do it. 2026 is just around the corner. Do it. Execute. You know why? Because nobody is really going to judge you. You know for a fact that the harshest judge is yourself. You tengok, you ambil gambar ni, siapa yang akan kritik you? You. Orang lain akan kritik orang lain. So tak payah you nak kritik diri you dah. Sudah. We've done that part already. Now we execute. So let's do that. So once you do all 4, you're going to lead change and you're going to build a better future. Silakan.
Thank you. I'll go back to Dr. Shafrina. Apart from planet and profit, sustainability is also about people. How can organizations embed compassion and purpose into the workplace culture?
Right, thanks for that question and for the very strong energy that I'm feeling from our ally here. Yeah, I think that some of that has been already mentioned by Puan Farah and Ibrahim. I think that we were talking earlier about purpose-driven leadership and sustainability, how that changes the mindset. So when we think about how that then can contribute towards integrating, I guess if you were to mainstream sustainability in any organization, a way for you to kind of embed compassion and this sort of sense of empathy and some social sustainability principles would be, first of all, before we start engaging with the people on it, try to embed that into the purpose of the organization first. I mean, not necessarily it has to be the first. There are some companies or organizations I've seen that actually put it into practice before they have it as part of their purpose. But what I'm seeing is that it's really important to kind of, for people to see that it's coming from the top and it's coming from leadership, and that you actually integrate it into the purpose, like the heart and soul of your organization or your business. And then the leaders have to sort of perform as the role models, because I have seen so many times companies where you have, for example, this talk about work-life balance, or yeah, we care about women and empowering women, but then like when the employees look at the leaders, right, leaders are not practicing work-life balance, right? And sometimes they invite you to meetings at 10 p.m. or 7 p.m. or something, and then people are questioning, so where's the work-life balance? So I once worked in a Danish company where I remembered they told me that on purposely, even though they needed to have a discussion or a meeting, they told me that on purposely they would reject that time and reschedule it at a time that is more appropriate for everyone, because they said, if I don't lead it, then who will? Like, I'm the leader. Actually, it was totally fine for me to do this meeting, but they said, if I do that, then I'm setting a sort of culture, and I don't want that. I want people to know that if we say that we care about your mental health and your growth, and we care about healthy career development at our organization, we want to be able to actually emulate that, right? And lead the way. So that's one thing, one way to go about it, purpose, through role model. But I would say also in implementing certain initiatives and programs as well. Something that I've done before, and also I just want to say, just like something that Encik Ibrahim had touched on a bit, right? About, for example, actually providing incentives. Let's say in this case it was paternal leave. Yes, some benefits, salary range, all of that is of course very important in attracting and retaining talent, and then building a certain corporate culture, right? A sustainable corporate culture. But at the same time, I would say that a lot of companies, they do this thing where they think like just having a pizza party or having like a little bit of a bonus here, or a little bit of an award there, that's what's going to influence our corporate culture. Actually, that's not enough. You really have to kind of literally show through what you are implementing, the initiatives and programs that you're offering, that the company is serious about this. An example of this is CSR. I've come to kind of sort of despise this term. I'll tell you why. Because CSR, when it first began back in the 80s and 90s, it was meant as a way to say that companies should do more than just generate revenue, and that they are supposed to provide services and products that actually give back to society or that actually bring value to society. However, over the years, CSR has also been seen as something that is not part of the business. It's like separate. It's the extra thing you do. And normally, we relate it back to philanthropic activities and charity. So now when we think about doing these sort of social or community engagement programs that a company does, I like the idea of moving away from the CSR mindset. Don't think of it as, oh, I'm doing this just as an extra. This is my business, how I operate my business. And then on the side, I'll just like throw some money to an environmental or social cause. And then that's good enough. That's the contribution I've made to society. No, I mean, what you can do, which can also benefit your own people and inspire your people. In fact, studies show that when you have a proper volunteering program or initiative in the company, it actually contributes to increasing productivity in a company as well. So, for example, I like the idea of moving away from the CSR and doing something like volunteering program where you get like your employees, you invite them during work hours, do not take their time when they are resting on weekends with their families or after work. Don't do that. Implement initiatives and activities that are during work hours, meaning it's on the company's time and money with the company's budget, right, that is provided. And then you invite your people to take part in very meaningful and strategic volunteering activities and causes. For example, if you're a company that is in, let's say, hospitality, let's say in hotels, right, or like F&B. So what are the areas in sustainability that relate to your business? Think about that, right? So let's say you're talking about, what relates to us? Food waste. Okay, food waste. So let's maybe do something to address that cause on food waste. Maybe it would be like raising awareness on it, or maybe reducing food waste in our operations, maybe talking about it with our people, our employees, and thinking how can we like maybe reduce food waste in our canteens, or how do we manage and treat food. And then you can actually get people involved in such a program, and then if you feel like you want to make a donation, you can. But there is some sort of activity related to it, and it's so strategic to your business, and it becomes a part of your business purpose. It's like it's part of what you are doing. It's not just like on the side, charity, you throw the money and look away. No. And of course, this helps to build your reputation as well, your brand reputation. It helps you to gain more collaboration, potentially with international markets that are looking at businesses that are more ethical and responsible. So these are some of the ways you could do it. Another example would be like having a DEIB policy. DEIB meaning diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And making the workplace more accessible to people. Slowly, I mean, it's not like a guarantee per se, like every company that you see that has a sustainability strategy or DEIB policy or maternal-paternal leave are perfect, or that they are all sustainable. But the studies show that the more companies integrate these sustainability principles, the more resilient they become, the more, I would say, the more sustainable they become as a business, right? And more profitable, actually. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sharmila. Now, don't you feel the energy here? I do, So thank you so much. What I feel about this panel is that it's not just about leadership and being at the top. It goes so deep inside on how they approach the business, the community, the environment, and how deep they go to actually understand the people that they embrace, the people who they assist, the people they work with, the young people, they need to, how to say, bring up out of the condition that they're in. And thank you to our ally, to Ibrahim, who said, go for it, you know. You have to be doers. You cannot be just, say you're a leader, you have to do it. If you find something which is not right, change it. Do something about it, ethically, of course. Now we go to the next part. I've been warned, we have only a few minutes left. Now, the future we build. Now, in one sentence, we go this way. What do you believe the next generation of leaders must embody to shape a better world? Can I start with you, Datin?
I think what we should nurture ataupun kita kena stay true to ourselves, our culture, our humility, and stay root to your own boundaries, and lead with your heart, with empathy and purpose. I like Tuan Ibrahim was saying, action please. We need action. We just don't talk and do nothing. I just like to share a little bit, Almas, after we had our program in June. We managed to bring now to have a side event in United Nations Women for having a side event in March 2026 for World Bank for Women and ASEAN World Bank that is going to be discussed in that meeting after our WEF. So what I'm saying is, let your ambition drives you, dream big, push your boundaries, and stay rooted to your humanity. Because it's very important to have that your heart is clear, your conscience are clear, you know what you want to achieve, and bring everybody together with you so that you stay connected and stay true to your vision. So this is empowered. Thank you.
Now, Dr. Shafina.
Yeah, for me, I would say that you should be the change you want to see in the world. That's what I would say, because I think that so many times, especially when it comes to women that I've encountered and made friends with sometimes along the way, they often come up to me and say, how did you do this, or how did you pursue that? You know, I takut lah nak duduk kat negara lain, ataupun I'm too afraid to pursue this lah. I feel like I would fail at it, or I don't know lah. I don't think my parents will be okay, or my husband will be okay, my family will be okay if I do this. I feel like there's this famous quote by Vincent van Gogh where he said that if there is a voice inside you that tells you do not paint, by all means paint. By all means paint, and that voice will be silenced. So just before I let you pass on to Wan Farah and Mr. Ibrahim, I just would like to share with you one of my favorite stories. It came from Kenya, from Professor Wangari Maathai, who was the founder of the Green Belt movement in Kenya. And very quickly, the story is about a forest that was being consumed by a big fire, and all the animals in the forest just stood in shock and felt helpless. They didn't know what to do as the forest was eating and burning away their habitat. A little hummingbird took action by going to the river and picking up, drop by drop, water to pour it over this huge fire that was raging in the forest. All the animals looked at the hummingbird and said, "What are you doing? You're not going to make a difference. What are you doing?" And they just laughed at the hummingbird, laughed away, said, "You're crazy." And the hummingbird said, "But I'm trying my best. I'm doing what I can." So I just want to tell you, it's like, it could be the smallest steps, and maybe someday you'll find your tribe and you'll make that significant impact. But keep doing whatever it is that you feel is right and passionate. And if you feel that is contributing to the greater good, go and do that and pursue it. And whatever voice it is inside you that's telling you not to, that's laughing at you, or saying that you shouldn't do it, you're not able to, silence that voice. Go ahead anyway, because you never know. You have to have faith that it will make an impact someday. And I'm here to tell you it will. From my experiences, it will.
Thank you, Shafina. And Farah, what do you believe the next generation of leaders must embody to shape a better world?
So I have shared earlier is the courage to transform or change, is the courage to be agile and also accept change. But I think what I want to share is also courage to fail, because in this part of the world, in our society, we're not so gentle when it comes to failures. So, for instance, in the current system that we have, if you don't excel in SPM, you almost do not have a lot of choices when you want to fill up in the UPU system. So unless and until you come from a very rich family, or your parents can afford it. So I must say that courage to fail is something that we want to create the system where, like in South Korea, the startups are given a specific fund, like a second chance for them to fail and do it again, and then fail, do it again, and there's a fund for it. So maybe, in the future or now, it has to happen now, right? Because you mentioned just do it. So it has to happen now, that courage to fail. Thank you.
Thank you, Farah. And Ibrahim.
Yeah, look, any negative feelings is normally stemmed out of inaction. Frustration, anger, anxiety, aggression, these are all normally associated when you can't do things or you don't do things. When you do things, it's normally associated with positive feelings like satisfaction, gratitude, pride, just a feeling of relief. Kalau fail pun tak apa, at least you've done it. So why do you want to associate yourself with negative feelings, knowing that the opposite to that is just by doing action, whether you win or fail, you're going to have positive feelings associated with it. On top of that, you have to, macam kita just echo this, you have to understand that courage means what? To leave. Leave the company that does not support your growth. Leave the relationship that you're with your partner if that doesn't make you grow. Berani. Kalau tak berani, you're not courageous. Apa I cakap ni tak ramai yang nak cakap, tapi this is what is needed to be told. Inilah dia. I'm not asking you to burn relationships with your company, with your partner, with your alumni, with your circle of friends. No, I'm asking you, are these the equations for growth? If it's not, what's stopping you? So associate yourself with positive feelings, change.
Great. I have to rush through this. Now, before we end the tagline round, but we're not in the tagline round yet, I'd like each of our panelists to leave us with one call to action. A simple, powerful message on what we can all do starting today to shape a better future. What one action can every person in this room take to move our industries, our world forward? Just short something.
A short one. Make your bed.
Make your bed.
This is not mine. This is something that I saw on YouTube. Kalau you tak ada kuasa dan tenaga dan keupayaan untuk just kemas your katil after you wake up, trust me, you're not going to achieve much in life.
Farah. One action is to move our world forward. Just do it. Just do it.
Take risks.
And that then? But
that life goes on.
All right, now we go on to the no. Those are powerful words. These short statements remind us that leadership is not only about vision, but also conviction, the courage to live our words. Now, thank you, Datin Hartini, Dr. Shafrina, Ibrahim and Farah. What we've learned today is that leadership is no longer about titles, it's about impact, it's about action. The future belongs to those who are brave enough to question, kind enough to collaborate, wise enough to listen with empathy, humility, and compassion, and deep understanding of each other. Let us move forward with confidence with our voices, our designs, and our actions, which can shape a more equitable and sustainable ASEAN, and indeed a better world. Before we end, I need to go through that you have 3 to 5 words to share with the audience. Short, powerful words that describe the way forward. Can I start with you?
Lead with purpose and leave a lasting legacy.
Do well by doing good.
Be like the sun. If you have to rise, you might as well shine.
Nobody really cares what you do, just do it.
And from me, it's inspire, nurture, and empower. With that, thank you so much. Let's give them all a big round of applause.
Thank you very much, Architect Alma Salma bin Ibrahim, for moderating the forum. And of course, thank you to Yang Berbahagia, Datin Dr. Haja Hartini Osman, Dr. Shafrina Sharif, Puan Farah Uthman, and Mr. Ibrahim Sani. You guys need to know that Mr. Ibrahim Sani is a talk show host. So